Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Bhau-Automation lab once again. In all TestNG video session series, we have already completed all these 7 topics. Okay, what is TestNG? Why do we need TestNG in Selenium? What are the benefits of using TestNG? Test annotations, parameterization in TestNG, include exclude tags and test methods and their benefits in TestNG, or groups in TestNG, how to create a groups in TestNG. All these topics are covered in the last sessions. Okay, if you not watch previous session, guys, please request for this video is watch all these previous sections and come to the this session. Okay, in this session we will cover why we use listeners in TestNG. Okay, this is a very interesting topic, guys. What is the iTest listener and how do we implement that iTest listener in our TestNG XML script? These are very beneficial also while working with the TestNG, and listener class is listen your test. Okay, this is the iTest listener. It is the one interface which is listen your test. Whatever you execute, you want to execute with onTestStart, onTestFailure, onTestSuccess, onTestSkipped, all those things will implement via this iTest listener. We'll see this concept practically, guys. This is very interesting concept, so I'm requesting you to watch carefully this video till the end, and you will able to answer and you will have understanding, complete understanding on iTest listeners concept in the TestNG. So let's try to implement this concept practically in Eclipse. Okay, let's go here. I will explain you the elementary related question on iTest listener also, but let's understand how we implement iTest listener in your TestNG XML file. First of all, I'll create one package here. Okay, so class package name is com.selenium dot let's say listeners. Okay, I'll create one package. In this package, let's say I'll create one class. Let's say websites. Okay, I'll show you one practical demo. We'll launch two websites in this class, and we'll see how we'll implement listener class. So I'll create a to test in this class public void, let's say Amazon. Amazon, and add the test annotations for this test. Okay. So first of all, let's say we set up our WebDriver. So WebDriver manager dot, let's say Chrome driver dot setup. Okay, if you don't know how to implement this WebDriver manager and all those things, we have already explained in my WebDriver manager concept, guys. Watch that video carefully and then come here. Okay, so you will get the clear understanding how to implement this WebDriver manager. Then let's say let's create one class WebDriver driver is equal to new Chrome driver. Okay, let's say implement this create this reference variable for WebDriver and assign this to the Chrome driver. Okay, so this is a driver now. It will be able to drive your entire script. So I'm just launching the script here, not doing anything because we are not creating any script here. We are just understanding listener and listener class or listener interface in TestNG. So driver.get, and I'll just launch Amazon.com. https://www.amazon.com. Okay. So this is script is responsible to launch Amazon.com. Okay. In same way, let's create one more test in this same class as itself. So this time we'll create a test to launch, let's say just google.com. And here just I will change it to the google.com, and let's search something in google.com. Driver find element by dot name. Let's say we know the name of search box of Google is Q dot, let's say send key Bhau-Automation. Okay, let's say search this text on google.com. So we have two tests here. One is amazon.com, launch amazon.com. Let's remove this. It will execute alphabetical order. So I'll remove this. First of all, execute this test Amazon, and then it will be execute google.com. Now we have two tests in this class websites, right? Now let's create a listener class for this test. Okay, so we have a class. Maybe there are 50 or 100 plus test cases in your classes. Okay, right? So we required to create a listener class for everyone. We are taking the example of two test cases here. Okay, so what is listener? So I have already explained you guys in the theoretical parts, like listener will be listen your test cases. Okay, what we have to do on test start, what we have to do on test success, what we have to do on the test failure, and all those things. So listener, iTest listener is the one interface which will listen your test. Okay, perfect. That. So how to implement? How do you implement the like interface in Java? So we using the implements keyword, we can implement the listener. So let's create one class here. How to do this practically? Let's see. So I'll create one class here called listener. Okay, so this is the one class. Okay, and we'll just implement that listener class too. Okay, let's implements. Using implements keyword, we will implement I test listener. Okay, whenever we use iTest listener, we need to import that one iTest listener from org.testtng. Okay, which we have added in the TestNG XML file. This is the dependency. Okay, sometimes what happens? Sometimes it will automatically tool. It's totally dependent on your the editor version. It's sometimes it will show here, and if you like hover on here, it will be ask you to add an implemented method, but it is not showing here. Guys, do the one trick. Just go to the right click and just go to the source and go to the override unimplemented methods. Click here. Okay, these are the iTest listener override methods. Okay, so what we required, first of all, we required this four methods: onTestSuccess, onTestStart, onTestSkipped, onTestFailure. Okay, this and the recording and store databases contents, we not require this for now. So let's implement that four important methods for your project from iTest listener class. Just click on OK, and whenever you click OK, this overridden method will be generated here automatically. Just remove this from auto generated code stuff from here. Okay, let's remove it. And what we have to do, so this is iTest listener is implemented. So this is on test start. Whatever you want to do on test start, it will every time these are the tests, right? Two tests will be triggered here, like Amazon and Google, right? Whenever you execute this test on test start, this test, whenever this test will start, your control will be go here on test start in this block. Okay, because iTest listener will be listen whatever you are execution. After the test is successfully executed, okay, your control will be go here on test success. Okay, if test is not successfully executed, then your control will be go here in the on test failure section, and it will throw an exception here. Whatever you want to do, like if you want to capture a screenshot here, you can write a code like that. Okay, if any stage gets skipped, it will your control will be go here. Okay, so maybe they have lots of students having the doubt related to this key. What is different between after method and before method and listener class then? Okay, this is also executing like on test success, on test failure, on test start. So different in the before method and after method and listener class methods is that, guys, try to understand carefully. Before method and after method will be execute every time if your test case get failed or if your test case get pass. Every test, whatever test you define, before method and after method will be get executed compulsory if your test get fail or test get pass. But if you implement listener class on test success, then it will be going to success area only. Whenever your test gets success, then only onTestSuccess method get executed from the listener class. Okay, if your test get failed, then only TestFailure get executed. It will not execute all the methods compulsory. Okay, this is the exact difference between before method, after method, and your listener class methods. Simple. So let's implement this iTest listener class. So I'll just print out some message here. Okay, system.out.println in listener class test starting successfully. Okay. On in listener class, test class started successfully, because every time test started, then your control will go here. For example, if you're working with API automation or anything, every time we require to clear the cookies. So on test start, we can write a cookie code here. Okay, as per your requirement of your project requirement, you can do a step here. Okay, whatever code you want to implement, you can do it here. On test success, if you want to create any report, okay, extend report or any type of report, you can create on test success. After success, you want to put any message, this test is get successfully passed, so you can put that code here. Okay, if you want to take a screenshot after failure, you can write a code here. Okay, as per your requirement of your project, you can do it, but just understand how the listener class work in TestNG XML file first. Okay, so we have put this message on test started successfully, then test here we just like type pass successfully. In listener class, test pass successfully, and here you can maintain test fail. Okay, so these are three messages we have currently put here. Okay, first of all, let's implement that listener class in your TestNG file. This is the very important. How do you implement that? Okay, so we are if you want to run this test, you can right click and run via TestNG XML file. Okay, TestNG, but we require to, whenever we create a test in listener class, or if you implement the listener class in your project, okay, TestNG XML file, it should compulsory to run your TestNG XML file only. Okay, should not run via this class. I'll show you the example what happens if you run the test via this class, and what happens if you run the TestNG XML file. Okay, so let's create TestNG XML file for your test. So here is the TestNG XML file. I'll give the name as TestNG3. Okay, so here we have TestNG3. Okay, we require to, if you run the test from here, run the TestNG XML file, it will execute. Okay, but it will not execute your listener class. Okay, because TestNG doesn't know where your TestNG listener class is stored. Okay, so first of all, we need to implement here TestNG listener, so that your TestNG get the knowledge TestNG XML file where your TestNG listener is located. Okay, so first of all, yeah, after suit, just add one tag, it's called listeners. Okay, in this listeners, add one more tag, it's called as listeners, only listener, and the class name should be provided as a like same way, like package name. In the class section, package name dot this class listener. Okay, so that now if you run the program via this TestNG XML file, it will be first of all control go to the listener class, and all the test whatever we have, it will be listen your listener class. Okay, listen via listener class, and this listener code will be get executed. Okay, this is how we can implement the listener class in your TestNG XML file. Okay, but if you run your script via this class only, then it will not execute your listener class. Okay, so first of all, let's try to run via this class only. So I have run just test via this class. Right click on this class and running. So first of all, it's launch amazon.com. Okay, and after that, let's say it will launch google.com. Okay, so we have some spelling mistakes here, I think. Yeah, 4Ws is there. It's google.com. Okay, one failure. Let's run it now again. here also to stop this. Okay, it's launching Amazon.com first of all. Yeah, perfect. And again, it's launching Google.com. Right? Both test cases executed, but there is no any listener message here. Right? There is no any listener message here. I will put one message here as well so that we know that the test is getting executed properly. Okay, so in Amazon.com test launch successfully. Say in test first for your understanding purpose, guys. Okay, and I'll put one more message here as well. In test second, google.com launch successfully. Your understanding. Here we have run via class, but there is no test listener executed, right? Because whenever we implement test listener, we required to run your test via TestNG XML file itself. Okay, just let's close this and now run your test via TestNG XML file. Okay, in listener class, test started successfully. Okay, it's going into the onTest listener. Amazon.com launch, right? And google.com also launch, and it's, let's say it's searching for Bhau-Automation lab. Perfect. So we have two successful test cases. Let's see how execution flow is. First of all, in test, first of all, in, let's say in listener class, first of all, it is in listener class, and in listener class, test started successfully. Then in test, first Amazon test launched successfully, right? On first of all, it's listener started, then test executed, then in again listener class, test passed successfully. Okay, first test executed till here. After that, again in listener class, because on test start, this test started successfully, second for second test, and then test in test second, google.com launched successfully, and in listener class again test passed successfully, right? So this is the flow. It's always listen listener. There is no like mini test failure or anything. So it will just control go into the test started successfully and test passed successfully, right? Now we can do one more thing, which is very important and tricky thing while working with the listener class. Guys, we can get that test name here as well. Okay, how to get that? So here is the one variable created automatically. Okay, I test results, implements results. Okay, if you implement that result here, result, okay, and just put dot, we can get lots of methods here. So if I use like a test dot get name and just plus and put here like a test name, okay, result dot get name, so that we can understand what which test is started. Okay, on test start. Same way, if I implement this here as well in the same way, so you will get the name of that test which is successful. Okay, and the same way if I implement here result.get name, so that in the same way we can get the name of that test case which is failure, and same way if you implement here as well, it will, you will get the name which is test get skipped. Okay. Simple way. So we put here result.get name. Okay, let's run it again, and now let's see. Now let's do one thing. Now we'll like failure one, do manual mistake here, like I'll just uh, put wrong name here, like for google search box, and let's try to do failure on this test case. Okay, and let's see whether our test execution control will be going into the test failure method or not. Okay, so that we'll get proper understanding on this, and also let's check whether we are getting the name of that test cases or not. Okay, so let's understand this, and let's run this TestNG XML file and see whether your execution flow is executing properly or not. So let's just right click and running through TestNG XML. Yes, Amazon. Okay, Amazon in listener class test started successfully. We state Amazon. This is name coming from this result.get name method. Right, perfect. So Amazon test is started successfully here, first of all, in listener class, and secondly, one test get failed, right? So which test case get failed here? Unable to locate a element because we have changed the locator. Manually mistake do here. So check whether we are going to the failure section or not. And Amazon in listener class test pass successful. Amazon test passes successfully. What is your test name here? So our test name is Amazon. So Amazon is passed successfully. Okay, it is in listener class again. Now Google test in listener class started successfully. Perfect. But we have manually done mistake here. We have just put dot here. So this is not any locator find out for this, and it's throwing an exception like no such element exception. This test case get failed. So let's check whether we are in the listener class test fail. Yes, Google test in listener class test fail. Where control goes into the listener class test fail section. Google inner class test fail. Perfect. So this is how we can implement listener class in your TestNG project. Okay, this is very important listener interface you can implement, and you can do whatever stuff you want to do. It is a very interesting topic, guys. Do it practically by yourself. If you have any doubt related to this, just comment out me. I'll give the all answer related to this. Okay, do it practically. Keep watching Bhau-Automation Lab. Any suggestion from your side, just comment out me. I'll create a video on that as well, and don't forget to share this video series to your colleagues as well. Okay, so let's meet in next chapter with one more interesting topic. Till time, have a great day. Bye bye, take care.